I'm Bob Wells. I'm the president of the Audubon Society here in Omaha. And tonight's presentation is by one of the young lady students from UNO who helped get the UNO Audubon chapter up and running. They were three. Initially, we had a president who was Noah Sunberg, and he was a senior, so he switched out, and now we've got Jessica, who's the vice president, who's going to present tonight on it. And I'm blanking here. A couple of other folks, so I don't see on the list tonight, but they're going to be with us for about another year. One thing I think we've learned from working with this campus Audubon chapter is students are wonderful people, and they've certainly taught me how to do Zoom and all that kind of stuff, and they're very easy to interact with and that kind of thing. And I try to attend as many meetings as I can, but it's a different ballgame than our usual demographic, which was, I think, the point of establishing the UNO chapter. So they can change semester to semester. We have an excellent faculty advisor who some of you may know, Dr. John McCarty, who is the head of the environmental science program out at UNO under his wife, Larissa Wolfenbarger, who is the head of the biology department, and they're both Cornell trained PhD ornithologists. So they're doing a lot of really good work for us, and John is the faculty advisor. So he's all of these guys have to go through him first to get there. And I'm just waiting for Jessica to get back on here. The next month, March, we're going to kind of slide into bird ID, kind of in anticipation of the coming spring migration. Scott Bradley, who's an ASO board member, and Rick Schmidt. One of the joys of Zoom is that we can get people from all over the country to help give programs for it. We're going to give 2 programs in March and in April on bird ID. Scott's going to be the primary presenter in March, and he's going to present a little bit more of a beginner to intermediate bird ID for spring migration, and Rick's going to do the April meeting, and he's going to talk about sparrows, which he does pretty well. I've seen that presentation before. Okay. I've seen Jessica's program here. She's got a very good one planned here. The majority of the students that are in the Audubon, UNO Audubon campus chapter are environmental science folks. They don't have to be. They can be just enrolled in UNO period, but the vast majority of them are environmental science. I don't want to steal any of Jessica's thunder here. She's going to talk about the way they've been organized, but they usually have a field program every month, and also an education and kind of an entertainment. We'll get Jess back in here. You good?
Yep.
I've just been riffing for you here.
I appreciate it. It's one of the issues everybody working from home is everybody is on the internet at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm still admitting folks here. So
all right.
Are you still a co-host? You make yourself a host?
Nope. It took that away from me.
Uh-oh. Oh, goodness. Remind me how I got into it then. Let's see.
Click on participants.
And then you.
And then me, and make a co-host.
Okay. Yes, okay, good. I think you're.
There we go.
Great.
Awesome.
And I introduced you and talked a little, I didn't steal any of your thunder for the
Oh,
program.
okay.
So you can kind of go over.
I wonder what you said about me. I wasn't here for it.
It wasn't anything bad.
You're just slandering me. No.
No, I give you guys all the credit for it. Talked a little bit about Dr. McCarty and the fact that he was a Cornell trained ornithologist, PhD ornithologist, which none of us knew except for Michaela. Michaela knew that.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing. We're really lucky to have him.
Yeah. And his wife is a bonus. She's his boss. Yeah.
I always forget about that.
Yeah. Well, you're on, Jess. I think you can go for it.
Okay. Let me pull this document back up. All right. And screen share.
Letting you have it. Here you go.
Here we go. All right, everyone can see it? Perfect. Uh-oh, hold on. All right, I'm just gonna hide my video so I don't distract myself. All right, here we go. Updates about the UNO Audubon Student Conservation Chapter, engaging college students in the community, conservation, and wildlife. I am Jessica McAdams. I'm the current Vice President of the UNO Audubon Student Conservation Chapter. I'm also a Noyce Science Scholar. This year I was a Merle E. Brooks Academic Scholar, and I have a degree in elementary education, but I am currently working on my post-baccalaureate for environmental studies, and I'm getting my secondary science education endorsement. Something fun about me, I'm a fieldwork fiend. I have been involved in fieldwork ever since I was really small, which you can see right here. I'm out helping with an entomology research project. And then this is me 2 summers ago, summer of 2019, working with bats on a white nose research project, and that was really fun, and it's just something I've always been involved with, and so becoming a part of this chapter was just something that felt right for me. So in case there's anyone who isn't sure who we are, we're the University of Nebraska at Omaha Audubon Student Conservation Chapter. It's a mouthful to say. We're UNO Ask for short. We're still pretty new. We began in the fall of 2019, and our students are the leaders. We do have a faculty advisor, Dr. John McCarty, and we work with UNO. We, of course, work with Omaha Audubon, and through Audubon on campus, we work with National Audubon. But aside from needing approval for certain things, we are pretty much a student-led chapter. We are also a conservation focus group that happens to include birds. Our first year and a half, we were very heavy on the bird stuff, but now we're trying to start transitioning and incorporating other aspects of overall conservation. We were also the first student chapter in Nebraska, and when we started, it was meant to be a joint venture with another group on campus called Sustain UNO. But after the first meeting, we decided that it was probably better that we were 2 separate organizations. Even though we overlap, we did have different goals from one another. So one of the biggest things about us is that we offer opportunities for students. We not only want to promote conservation and the love of birds, but we want to get college level students involved in conservation and with the community. We're all about finding and providing those opportunities for them. Opportunities for fieldwork, for networking, professional development, pretty much anything and everything we can find. Our team is made up of multiple organizations. So we've got, again, Dr. John McCarty, our faculty advisor. We've got the National Audubon people from the Audubon on Campus program, Diana Braithwaite and Gustavo Figueroa. We've also got Audubon Society of Omaha people that we interact with regularly. Those are Bob and Michaela for the most part. And then we have our student leaders, Kaylee, myself, and Ashley. We are about to have elections though, so that lineup is going to change after elections are over for the next year. There are definitely a lot more people involved in helping our group, but these are the core people. So what we actually do, monthly meetings. We used to do them on campus. We're doing them on Zoom now, which, as you can see, has its challenges. We've tried to post meetings to social media in the past, but we've had a lot of technical issues with that. We're still kind of working on that, but it's a pain in the butt for sure. At these meetings, we have a guest speaker each month. It's always somebody from the conservation field or related to it. We're experiencing these professionals coming in and talking to us and getting students excited or at least interested in the fields that they're in. And these are people who get to go out and do surveys and monitoring or have field or lab research experience, or they're conservation educators. And they're talking to our students about what it's actually like to work in that field. We also do conservation updates every month through our newsletter or in meetings, and we try to get student engagement going through the group activities, but that's a little difficult right now. So right now we're using Kahoot, which is like a quiz trivia battle. And our topics have mostly been bird knowledge and species identification. But again, trying to include more conservation-based questions as we're moving forward. The students seem to really enjoy it. And at the end, we have small prizes like a $5 Starbucks card or a free meal from Chipotle or something to give students incentive to play. And then whoever has the most points at the end gets the gift card. We also discuss our upcoming events, other opportunities, research events, and projects. This year, we focused mainly on window collision and prevention and plants for birds and pollinators. We kicked off our window collision prevention survey with some student engagement events to try and stir up interest. This is mostly through social media, and it didn't get as much attention as we wanted, but we are still considering it a success because in the end, students did participate, even if it wasn't as many as we wanted. We handed out chalk pens to students who could use these to draw on their windows. And then we also discussed how limiting the reflectiveness of things like windows has been shown to reduce bird collisions. So it's something fun, kind of a cool way for us to introduce the project and let everyone know what we were doing. So with the Plants for Birds and Pollinators project, we have this nice little plot at Fontanelle that we seeded in December. We're hoping it will eventually become a good habitat for biodiversity, for pollinators, and also for migratory birds. And then this here is one of our submissions that we received for that kickoff project. This project took 21 days to collect the data, and it was all done on UNO campus. We had students out monitoring 5 different buildings, and we picked a specific window of time for these surveyors to go out and collect the data each day so that it was consistent throughout the project. We saw some signs of window strikes, but there wasn't enough information we collected to really do any sort of write-up to give to the university. So we're going to continue the project during this next migratory window in the spring and possibly next fall. The point of the project is really to see if there's a need on campus for the university to put window strike prevention measures into place. And then when and if we have enough data, we can give the information we find and what is recommended to the university, and then the university can make an informed decision from there. So, kind of putting students in the role of, if you were going out and doing an actual monitoring survey, these are the steps you would take, and it's giving them practice with something that has real life effects. One really cool thing about this is that we've been able to give students credit for the hours that they've spent. So it's going towards volunteering hours, or if they're in the environmental program, they're required to have a certain number of intern hours. And so this counts towards that. And that's really cool. So this is our sign that's up right now at our pollinator plot out in Fontenelle. Virginia Stouffer designed it and did an amazing job. We absolutely love it. It's beautiful, it's informative, and it really, I think, helps visitors understand what we're trying to do with this project. And with this project, we're funded for that through 2 grants, Audubon in Action and the Burke's Plants for Birds. The grants and application paperwork were done by a student, Ashley, who is our current treasurer. And she also had some guidance from our friends at Audubon of Omaha. And this was really a great opportunity for our organization to receive financial assistance, but also was great for Ashley as a student to learn about the process of grant writing. We like to find ways to extend opportunities to students, as I've said, and this is something we'd like to get. Writing grants is something we'd like to get more students involved with. I have heard from several students, both former and current, that the first time they ever had to actually work or help write a grant proposal, they had absolutely no idea what they were doing. So for us, being able to provide this type of learning opportunity to students is going to help us to create better and more capable professionals once they're out in the real world. So at Fontenelle, this site is near the History Trail. And as I said, we've already seeded it, and we're going to be doing plant plugs in May. The plants we're using are all native to the area of our plot. We're hoping that in addition to creating that habitat and diversity, that using native plants are going to make it easier to care for the site in the long run. We have received a lot of help from Michaela Johnson and Michelle Foss with this project and helping us to get the site ready for planting, ordering seeds, getting plugs, and they have helped to provide so much information to our students about what we're doing, why it's important, and the realistic time frame before we see results. And just in general, they've been really great sources of information for us. They're amazing. So events we've done last academic year and this past academic year. We've got a ton of them. I've included pictures of 2 of our most recent events. In the bottom left is when we went out in November to Hitchcock, and we went up to the Hawkwatch Tower. It was really cool. It was great being up that high. We saw a lot of birds. It was a great opportunity for students. They got to talk to people who actually do this either as volunteers or as their job, and everyone had a really great time and learned a lot. And then up in the top right is from our seeding event in December. And Michelle Foss was just, again, a great source of information. And then we went on a guided hike with her after we were done seeding, and she told us all about the history of the site, and it was amazing for everyone who was there. Unfortunately, events like this we're not really able to do to the scale that we want because of COVID restrictions right now. We can only have a small number of people at these events. So instead of the big group activities like in the past, we have to cap our official events to 10 people. So we've had a lot of people miss out that wanted to attend, and we're hopeful that as the vaccine becomes more widely available, that restrictions will loosen for this. But if they don't, we're trying to plan ways to allow more students to be involved for next year. We want to provide them every opportunity so that they know what they're doing has an effect and get a feel for what field they want to go into. For our upcoming events for the rest of this academic year, we're looking at doing some nature walks, birding, educational talks, and then wrapping up the semester with that planting event at the Fontenelle site. These are just our officially sanctioned events for the organization. We're always looking for and sharing outside opportunities with our students for volunteering and learning that is done through other groups. Again, we want to get them that field experience. We want to get them outside more, especially now when so many of us are stuck inside all day. We want to get them community service hours. We want to get them their internship hours. So one of the biggest jobs that the officers have is to get all that information together and assist students with their future careers and their goals and show them what's available. And speaking of goals, here are ours. We're trying to increase member count and participation despite the issues we've had with gatherings and meetings this last year. We haven't lost too many members, and it's really difficult to dive into this goal since participation options are limited. But again, we're doing things like the Cahoots, we're doing outreach projects like the Window Collision Art Contest. We've talked about the possibility of doing other types of creative contests too. So writing about birding or nature or photography. These are just all things we're trying to figure out how to do as leaders in this group. We want to get students involved. We want them to be invested even if they're far away and can't come to campus. We're also looking to continue growing our relationships with other groups that we're working with, like the Sustain UNO organization on campus, Fontanelle, Audubon Society of Omaha, hopefully expand to other local and regional organizations. We'd like to figure out how to effectively partner with groups like DeSoto and Spring Creek Prairie Audubon. And also, of course, we'd love to do more group outings, but again, that's a challenge right now. It's also important to us, something that we really couldn't do this last year, to expand our engagement past UNO. We want to do more in our surrounding community beyond the campus, and also in a K-12 setting. And that's just a way for us to, as students, get practice with speaking to the public, because if we're going into a conservation field or a research field, we may have to address the public. We may have to interact with the public. So we're trying to figure out the best way with these restrictions to move forward and do community outreach programs to the public and non-college students. And then, of course, continue to provide those networking, research, and career opportunities for our organization's students. And of course, it's not just beneficial, what we're doing benefits conservation and the birds, but it also benefits students. And that's part of how we try and pull them in. We go, oh, join our group. This is what you can get from it. And everything we do benefits our students. They get to add their involvement with us on their resumes and their curriculum vitae, and we're trying to get them involved in fieldwork and research, and they're getting these network opportunities. They're learning about different career options they have. We're going outside and seeing cool things. And when there isn't a pandemic going on, we have free pizza at our meetings, and it has been sorely missed by many of our members. And if you want to find us and see what we're posting about, you can follow us on Instagram or Facebook with the tag @UNO Audubon. And these are the people who've supported us. We've got Audubon Society of Omaha, UNO, just all these great people, just helping us out, helping us to be better. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Jessica. I think one of the things that we really, from the Audubon Society standpoint, we really wanted to get the group to network with the potential employers and things like that. And Michaela Johnson is a recent UNO graduate, and she works out at out at Fontenelle in land stewardship. Matt Miller was president a couple cycles ago, and he's out there as well. And we're trying to, as you noticed, we got active in November of 2019, which of course was right before COVID we had about 2 meetings, I think, that we could actually gather together, and then the COVID restrictions kicked in. And you have to really, really be careful if you're partnering with a university. They have specific requirements and things like that, and you have to follow through with those. You cannot, you don't want to be the source of any spreading or anything like that.
Exactly.
But with your Hawkwatch, you got to meet Chad Gravy up there, the manager of land stewardship up at this I'm blanking here, yeah. But I think that's something that the pandemic has kind of stifled just a little bit. But hopefully, as Jessica says, we'll get beyond that in the second half of the year here. Are there any questions? I'm in charge of the chat box here. Okay. I got to thank you for you, Jess, and also we got looks like Lauren gave you a like for all of your ideas to get.
Oh, yay!
Yeah.
It's always nice when other people like your ideas, because then maybe they don't suck so much.
Well, I have to say that it's been a wonderful group to work with. They're all really motivated. I think there's a lot to offer them. I think a lot of people are a little bit squirrely with COVID, and it's nice to get a little fresh air every once in a while, and I think we can manage that as long as we're careful. So,
yeah.
Are any other questions anybody has? They've been a really good group to work with. Jessica's as smart as she can be, and so are Kaylee and Ashley. So they're very nice people to work with. It makes you feel younger. Great. Okay.
Any questions at all? I might have answers.
Well, as I mentioned, next month in March, we're going to shift to actually bird ID. So we got Rick Schmidt via Stillwater, Minnesota. One of the wonders of Zoom, you can get people from out of town to come give you lectures, and so we'll get that, and that'll run for 2 months, March and April both, to kind of get geared up for spring migration. So these should be good programs. Yeah. Well, I don't see any more questions. Jessica, thank you very much. We really do appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.